And greetings, everyone. I am Paul, the Techno Funk Boy. I am joined by the Henshin Dad himself. Welcome.
Hello, I am the Henshin Dad himself. I am Wesley, also known as Wesley, I guess. I don't know. It's been a long day.
We're off to a banging start. This is great. Last week, an auspicious occasion occurred, and that we're finally, season 3 of the Orville booted up. I say finally, as though I have been a fan for more than 6 months, which I definitely have not been. But season 3, New Horizons, has started up, and so you helped get me into the show, and therefore I am punishing you by making you jump on a stream with me to review these episodes as they come out. And for some reason, you agreed.
Well, you said it was a punishment, so I didn't think I had much of a say in the matter, honestly. Not that you're old enough to be my dad, but you know. You're a little bit older than me. So, I have to respect those that came before me. The science fiction veterans, as you will. Because you were the one that really turned me on to a lot of the Star Trek stuff. So really, it's your fault that I got into the Orville in the first place, because you were kind of like really bolstering up a lot of that sci-fi stuff.
Yeah, it's true. And the very reason that I was avoiding the Orville for a long time is because I thought it looked silly and stupid. And it's seriously the best Star Trek we've had in a very, very long time.
The only one, honestly.
Yeah, it's amazing. Star Trek does not exist at all.
Yeah. You think they would capitalize on that IP sometime, but I feel like we've made this joke before. As did everybody else, honestly, because this is just kind of the cool thing nowadays.
Right. And so I got aboard the Orville just in time, because New Horizons, the 3rd season, had been pushed back a bit, and it gave me a chance to get through all the prior episodes and really kind of fall in love with the show. And now Hulu has taken the show over. It's going to be a shorter season episode wise, but as we kind of see in the first episode, these episodes are going to be longer. And so we're going to have, I think, 10 weeks of new Orville episodes. And so since I'm actually watching a show as it airs, which is very unusual for me, I thought that it would be fun to jump on here and talk about it a little bit. And yeah, so first episode has come out.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you watched it.
Oh shoot, was I supposed to watch it? I thought this was the introduction. No, I totally watched it. As a matter of fact, it's interesting that you say that you actually caught up with it more recently, because I have been waiting for these episodes for quite a while, because I watched season 2's finale not too many months after it aired. So I really have been waiting for a while on this. I was like, oh shoot, this is really good. And I remember texting you basically every time I finished an episode, I was like, oh, that was really good. Oh man, you're definitely going to like this. Oh man, you should probably watch this. This is kind of up your alley. I think you might actually enjoy this. So I'm glad you finally did watch it.
Yeah. And it has absolutely been fun. Rave, welcome to the chat. So anybody who's going to be catching us on YouTube, we will be recording these on Twitch and then exporting over to YouTube. The format is going to kind of be, we're going to do non-spoiler review quickly, and then if you're watching live, you're going to catch all of this. But in a new video, do a spoiler review of the episode, which episode 1 is called Electric Sheep. Written and directed by Seth MacFarlane, and so we're going to have to tackle this in a spoilery way. My biggest fear going into this was that this series was going to go down the path that we have seen many of our beloved franchises go in the very recent past, which is downhill. And I, for one, was very, very pleasantly reassured by the first episode that that is definitely not the case. That this episode one was thoughtful, was well written, well performed, and ultimately as profound and touching as I was hoping it would be.
I would definitely agree. Honestly, it was well, first off, I was very shocked by the length of the episode. I was not expecting like over an hour's worth of
Yeah, it's
material.
about 70 minutes somewhere in that area.
Hmm.
And the time is not wasted.
Oh no, no, there's a lot of like really like it didn't move slow, but it was very
No.
methodical, I think, and
Hmm.
contemplative, especially given the subject matter, which we'll tackle
Right.
later. But I felt like they really did their best to not rush you through all the important details and scenes that you would really need to know to feel the full emotional weight of what happened. But they really like took their time in a lot of scenes. And there were like scenes that didn't have any music or anything in the background going on entirely. And then they just wanted to hit you with that emotional weight. So I really
Yes.
appreciated that. So
Oh,
even
they
though it
let those
was
scenes
like,
breathe, just like they gave it room,
mhm,
and you and it forced you to pay attention. Yeah, it was real well paced.
yeah. And the actors did such a good job with those scenes in particular, because like the way that it really rested on their faces as they're facing what they've just witnessed and what they've just been through, like, oh my goodness, like I don't know if I would necessarily call a lot of them like the best actors in the world, but they really
Oh
did their
yeah.
best. Like, wow, just it's, without getting into spoilers, it's like just there are a couple characters in particular that just sold it completely for me. Characters that
Yeah.
I didn't even necessarily enjoy previously
Hmm.
really earned their spot like in the show, I think. So I
Right.
appreciated that. So even though
Yeah.
the length was like super long, like it went by super fast as I was trying to get through it before tonight. So I was very appreciative of that.
Yeah, and this is hard to talk about non-spoilery because we're gonna get to the setup of the episode, but the setup of the episode is not where it goes, and it's there the episode took some unexpected turns for me
Hmm.
that really brought kind of an emotional weight to them. But we'll go through kind of the setup for the episode, what's going on, a couple of things that I for one wanted to hit on this. Um, the the first one though is that it is hard to discuss the setup of this episode without touching on what came before, because in season 2 we had a very very big war, and it was kind of the major tentpole plot event of what is normally an episodic show, and that this episode deals with the fallout of that. And uh, it specifically, there's a character on the show, Isaac, whose people were the enemy in this fight, and he had helped them at first and then didn't. And now the crew is very ill at ease with him around, and there is actually quite a bit of animosity and threatenings, just people telling him off right up front, and the captain gets wind of this and is trying to deal with it. This is also kind of introducing our new character, Charlie Burke, and this I was not expecting what she was going to be in this first episode, because new character, you're kind of expecting them to introduce kind of putting her best foot forward to show the audience that we should be connected with her. Nope. Nope,
Definitely
not
not.
at all. Not at all. Um, but one thing that you were mentioning in our text, and I think is very, very true, is despite the fact that this is fallout from what has come before, the show actually does take some time to reacquaint us with everybody, reintroduce everybody. And I think in the opening sequence actually does a great job of recasting the war for people who have not seen it,
Hmm.
did not see those episodes. And it's hard for me to judge because obviously both of us have seen those prior two
Right.
seasons, but I think they did a good job of really giving us a great introduction to the characters for anybody new who might be climbing aboard, and and in that did you think that this is a good starting point for people?
That's kind of tough to think, honestly, because on the one hand, I did not like watch these episodes as recently as you. So a lot of the context of the war, like the specific scenes and details, were kind of lost to time in my head. Like I could not remember a lot of the specific things. The general idea, I think, came across pretty well, but without really knowing these characters, it'd be kind of. I mean, you could definitely sell somebody on it, but it would be kind of a hard sell, I think, because you're like, well, who in the world is this, and how does this character like relate to this one? So I think it'd be tough, but I think it could be done. I wouldn't recommend it though.
Well, and that is a tough part because it's like I'm trying to sell people on the Orville now.
Hmm.
And unfortunately, with the Orville, is this did start off as a parody of
Right.
not just a love letter to Star Trek, but a parody of Star Trek. And it is not a parody anymore. It is still funny at times, but very specifically, those first few episodes were very, very heavy on the humor,
Hmm.
and not just the humor, but Seth MacFarlane humor, which I like on the Orville, but I'm not a Family Guy fan at
Hmm.
all. And so I kind of had to be walked through those first episodes, and I feel like everybody else does too. It's
Hmm.
like it starts off real goofy. No, like real goofy, but keep going because the humor stays with it, but the goofiness burns off fairly
Right.
quickly. Let's say
Well,
within 5 or so
honestly,
episodes.
even in this episode, I was expecting more McFarlane style humor, but I really didn't get a lot of that from
This was a
any of the
very
characters'
serious,
interactions. Like they took
right?
things really seriously. There were a few jokes here and there, and a few scenes that could have been pretty tasteless, I think. But they did a really good job with it. Like he can really like walk that tightrope between like
Yeah,
too funny or too serious. Like he's really good at that. I was shocked by
yeah,
how much this didn't resemble a typical thing that he would make.
yeah. And that's one of the big things. Is like it's something that I think I think the early episodes. I started rewatching season one a few weeks ago, and I'm actually liking it more now than I even did then. But those first few episodes lean too far humor,
Hmm.
while still saying good. But yeah, it's quite a ride getting here, and then it's like this has some laugh out loud moments, but for the most part, this is very serious Star Trek,
Hmm.
and very well crafted Star Trek, and that's the show has taken quite a progression in that area to be what it is now. And so yeah, trying to find a starting point for my friends, but I guess if you've gotten this far and you have not seen the Orville, obviously you have Hulu. If otherwise you're not going to be able to watch any of it. The other two seasons are on Hulu. Just start it off. Just know that it's going to be more serious very soon.
Hmm. Unless you're watching like a high definition show on your CRT or something, that'd be kind of weird. Gosh, who would do something like that?
I have sent you pictures of me laying on that couch watching that TV, haven't I?
It looked really good on the TV. I mean, come on.
Yeah, despite the fact that I have Hulu, I don't know how long I'm going to have it. So I actually got season 1, and I've been watching the DVDs on that TV lately. But um, the other thing, besides the I'm sorry, we kind of got off a tangent. The character introductions. Did you have anything else you wanted to hit on that? Because I thought your point was really good about that. They're just little lines that.
Oh yeah, you barely see a lot of the main cast, honestly. Like Bortus maybe got like 2 lines total and like one scene where it's like actually the
Yes.
camera's actually on him. But even still, it's just like just these little character interactions and just seeing how they are upgrading the ship and working on that and just seeing how they work together every day. It just seems so fun, honestly. Like these
Yes.
characters seem to be having fun together. They're very jovial. Like the cast seems to obviously enjoy like working with each other, or else that could create some interesting like interplays. But it just was fun to watch, and like going back to this, it's like I didn't have any like fear or dread that they're going to ruin a character or anything like that. It just seems so nice, and just these are friends. They're back together. It gave me the warm fuzzies, the fuzzies that I like.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, that's actually the topic that I wanted to get to, because one of the things I love about the Orville, and this is what I hate about Discovery and Picard, is that hope for the future.
Mm-hmm.
That Star Trek has always been about, this is what we could accomplish together. This is a it is a utopian view of the future that let's, if we can get our act together, this is what we could make. And the discovering Picard falls into that, to actually my very, very favorite Kurt Vonnegut quote. I've said it probably several times to you, and I don't know, I can't remember where it's from, but the quote is, "When did the future stop being a promise and start being a threat?" And
Yes, I remember you
that is
saying that
Star
before.
Trek. That is Star Trek. The Star Trek future was a promise, and now it's a threat. But the Orville future is a promise, and it's. I remember one episode when they're about to make first contact, and um, the excitement through the whole ship that this is why we're out here. We get to make first contact, people,
Mm-hmm.
and it is pretty cool. That didn't go well for them, but
But they were
but
excited, and
but
that's
the
like the whole
excitement of it,
thrust of
yeah.
it.
This plot is very dark, of this episode, and yet they still manage to keep the fun and hope in it. It's like the war from last season took a toll on everybody, and a lot of people died, but seeing seeing them upgrade the ship, how excited they are about what they're going to be able to do, what they get to do. The music is constantly just swelling in those scenes. Like, it will go silent in a lot of the dramatic scenes, but when they're outside the ship installing something, those strings are going wild with it. And they managed to do a very, very dark plot and a very, very serious topic, while maintaining the sense of hope and fun,
Mm-hmm.
which is a really near impossible to actually do in real life. But Seth MacFarlane managed to pull it off, and
Yeah,
it's impressive writing.
yeah, and it speaks to something that everybody is really looking for these days. Like, you don't get the kind of escapism anymore with the type of media that we have out there, and you don't get the sense of adventure. You don't get the desire to better yourself from a lot of what we see like these days. I really
Mm-hmm.
feel like this show does a good job in saying, here is where we are going. This is the aspirational future. Let's get it, even with
Right.
all of our faults. And I feel like the Orville shows the faults of the human characters so much. Like, it's actually, I mean, it is pretty
Yeah.
comedic and it's played for comedy, but it's a joyful comedy in that regard. And I think that he does a great job with it. And, we'll pretty much be singing his praises this entire time. So we may as well start off with a
Yes.
bang.
Right. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. So I kind of, my bottom line on all this is, I was worried about this season. I was worried that they were going to ruin something really special. And so far, so good. That was an incredibly good start to the season.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really excited. As we're recording this now, this episode is going to drop the same day that on YouTube that episode 2 drops. So for us, it's tomorrow. And
so we could be totally wrong, and the show could just go to shambles tomorrow.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely, yeah.
This video will age perfectly.
But look at I don't know about you, audience, or well, I do know about you, Wes. Most of the reviews I watch on YouTube are people who hate the show and are forced to watch it for YouTube videos and just seem like they're in pain the entire time and constantly complaining about, because I find it very funny. So if that's what this turns into, it'll probably get me views. I won't be happy, but it'll get me views. That's what we're here for.
Money or happiness? What's more important? I mean, money makes you happy, so I guess you don't have to choose between the two.
Yeah.
I will say, while I am excited, before we get into like spoiler stuff, I am excited for the season, and I did feel like they did start it off super well. My only potential reservation, which could be totally like debunked by tomorrow, is that this is going to turn more into like, I don't know the proper term for it, but it's just like an ongoing storyline, and that it's going to lose some of the more episodic things that the first 2 seasons had. I really enjoyed how episodic a lot of those episodes were, and it just felt like, okay, I could watch this. I have the complete story, and I don't necessarily have to feel like I need to watch every episode beforehand, and that I could potentially show an episode out of order, and it wouldn't really matter as much. I think we don't have enough of those these days, so the more that we can get that are good is going to be helpful. But if this turns into, an entire season-long story arc where one episode's leading to the next, okay, I enjoy those too, but I feel like I'm kind of burnt out on that at this point. So I would appreciate something kind of chunked up in smaller bits, if you understand what I mean.
Yeah, and that is my hope as well. And I do think I'm relatively confident that is going to continue. And we'll get more into this in the spoiler territory. I really like that they actually dealt with the aftermath of something.
That's true.
Because that is the temptation of the episodic story, is that something crazy happened. Locutus a Borg in the last episode, and everything's normal in this next episode. It's like, well, it wouldn't be. And like, even if you're doing something episodic, if you're doing something that big, it's got to be addressed. And so hopefully, I do. I am looking forward to more episodic things going forward.
I like how you were thinking about Locutus, and I was thinking instantly about Data and him taking over the ship like a dozen times and never having any repercussions about that. But
Yeah, no, that's it exactly. We are going to get more into that, because I think there's intentional parallels in all of this, and so we're going to. I think I have nothing more to say to the people who have not seen the episode. Go watch the episode. Come back to us.
Mm-hmm. Well, go watch the first 2 seasons, then watch the episode, and then come back.
Well, I mean, that's a long wait. I need the number. I need views.
Okay. Don't worry, I'll watch it 20 times.